Hello everybody! In today's video I'm going to show you a Louis Vuitton Halloween design. So I have the little Louis Vuitton Jack and Lucy charms, which is one of the only Halloween things from a major designer, which is pretty cool. So I've got the little Jack skeleton and the little Lucy, who's the first human, charms hanging off the nail, and then the nail itself is black with glow-in-the-dark orange to green to purple Louis Vuitton gradient, so it's like the LV pattern. I hope you guys like this as much as I do, and don't forget to check out Helen's design. Hers is a much more gruesome take on the concept, with the LV coming out of the nail like it's bursting through skin with blood and guts and everything, which is awesome. I love blood and guts, so I'm all for it. And don't forget to click subscribe to see my future designs as well.
So I'm going to begin with an overlay of clear acrylic because I did paint this nail black later. I'm just going to start out with that clear. That is kind of optional. If you wanted to, you wouldn't have had to do a clear overlay. I like to do a clear overlay anytime I have something that's 3D or, extra on top of it, just as a support base, and to have that little charm hole going through, it just makes the nail a little stronger and not like it's going to break. And then file the nail into shape with your e-file. I started out with just a medium grit bit and went over the whole thing. And now I'm going to paint my nail with a layer of black gel polish to make sure that it is nice and opaque. You can do either 1 or 2 coats. And then a layer of black matte gel top coat over that. And now with some white gel paint, and it is necessary to use gel paint or gel polish versus an acrylic paint for this specifically, we're going to start painting our pattern. And the reason I would recommend gel paint over gel polish is because it doesn't spread at all, and gel polish has a self-leveling property to it where it kind of evens itself out a little bit, which can kind of level itself right out of some of your details. So whenever you're doing something and you want it to be really precise, I would go with a gel paint instead. And the reason you can't use acrylic paint is because you need the stickiness of the gel for this particular design. So I've got the V that I'm starting with in the middle, and I want that really big LV right in the middle smack dab of the nail. And then I'm going to have the L that kind of interlocks with it going down and across. And doing designer nails is something that I've done for a long time as far as on clients. I've never done I don't think I've ever done a designer set on YouTube before, but I remember I had a client before it was even in vogue to do a designer themed design. This was like 5 years ago, before it really was the popular thing. I had a client who absolutely just loved designer nails, so I guess she was ahead of the curve. But now after I have that LV in the middle, then I'm going to go through and do all of the other little patterns that go around it. And the great thing with Louis Vuitton is that the patterns are pretty standardized regardless of what the rest of the design is. And so you can kind of if you've done this once, you've done it before. I mean, it doesn't change. So painting these little patterns is something that once you kind of get a knack for it, it really goes really fast and really quickly. So if you have clients that like designer nails anyway, doing a little switch up to make it Halloween shouldn't be very difficult at all. So I've got the first pattern is the diamond with a little flower in the middle. And so I start by, as you could see, I made little guide dots, and that really helps to make the lines even and symmetrical. And if you have trouble with that, getting your shapes to be the same from side to side, having those little guide dots takes no time at all to put them down, and it makes such a big difference. So after you got those first shapes done, then on the sides you're going to paint that little flower pattern without the diamond around it. So instead of being the black shape with the white around it, it's just the white shape. So we're going to be adding those just right in there. And don't cure this nail at any point. Don't be tempted to cure it or flash cure it or do anything like that. You want to leave all of this gel wet, which can make it super difficult to prevent it from smudging, especially if you're somebody who accidentally touches things a lot. Because I know I actually did smudge this design once before I cured it, and I don't know if that's visible at all, but I remember looking at it right before I cured it going, no, I touched it. So if you do happen to do that, you do need to really clean it with some isopropyl alcohol or nail cleanser to remove any of that stickiness so that your powders don't get stuck. So now this is still uncured. I'm going to take and sprinkle some orange glow-in-the-dark pigment over the top third. Make sure you try to get from all angles with that orange pigment, and then you're going to go to a green pigment and sprinkle that over it. And if you don't have glow in the dark, just any kind of pigment or acrylic powder will work for this. It doesn't have to be glowing if you don't want it to be. And then finish the bottom third with the purple, and then after it's cured you can brush it off with a nail brush to remove any of that extra dust. And now with an e-file and a very narrow bit, I'm going to be drilling my hole through the nail for my charm. Take your time with this and then just poke the hole right through. Go slow and steady is my recommendation. And now cut off 2 pieces of wire that have a loop on the end and dip those into some builder gel. So we're going to dip them the first time, and then you can use a brush to kind of manipulate the gel to get it to be a rounder shape if you need to. Cure it, dip it a second time. There I'm going and just kind of fixing it up a little bit. And keep dipping this, so do a dip cure pattern until you're happy with the size and the shape of your little charms. And you have to repeat this so that you have 2 of them. And then with some gel polish, I'm going to paint one of them orange and one of them white. And this took 2 coats for sure, but you have to cleanse the, before you paint them, make sure that you cleanse them to remove the inhibition layer of the builder gel. And after they're orange and white, then I'm going to take some black acrylic paint and I'm going to be painting their little faces on them. So the first one is going to be Jack. And I had such a hard time saying Jack Skeleton and like a jack-o'-lantern instead of Jack Skellington. So he's just a little jack-o'-lantern, and he's not really a skeleton at all, but he's a little jack-o'-lantern. And then it's Lucy, who's the first human. And I actually had the honor of seeing Lucy in person at the LA County Natural History Museum several years ago. So that was kind of something that was just like a little, hey, I've seen her. Anywho, after you've got that black done, then I'm going to go back through with their respective colors and add the little Louis Vuitton patterns inside. So there's the little flower shape that has the pointier petals, and then the little flower shape with the rounder petals. So just go through and do that. The one with the pointier petals is basically like just doing a cross sign with it being so tiny, and then add a little polka dot in the center of each flower, and then finish these little charms with a layer of gel sealer to make them super shiny. These are lacquered charms, and so they are ridiculously shiny as far as the actual charms are. So now we can connect these together with a chain. So just take a little bit of jewelry chain. The one I have actually has the teeniest, tiniest little loops on it, so it's really hard to get these charms on. So if you had one with a little bit bigger of a loop, that would be easier. Then connect a loop in the middle, then string that jump ring through the nail and close it, and that is it. I absolutely love this nail. Those little charms are so cute, and if you wanted it to be more wearable, you could skip them if you wanted, but otherwise I think this Louis Vuitton Halloween nail is just so elegant and sleek. I hope you like it as much as I do, and don't forget to share recreations with me on Facebook or Instagram. I would love to see them, and I'll see you next time. Bye!